says preparing to live stream.
All right.
You can probably go. Let's hit record.
In 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome back into the Dead Arm Sports Podcast. Josh and Jell here live
on a Monday. What up?
You can check us out on YouTube. We are streaming live. So if you are
live on a Monday
to the live feed, be sure to send us in some questions. We've got the chat box up here, so we will be monitoring that. Got a fun show for you today. Not a ton of news over the weekend, but we're going to discuss some news that did happen, touch on a little baseball, and then had quite a few wonderful game sevens over the weekend. But to kick it off, Jell, on Thursday,
couple of them, I guess.
Yeah,
NBA kind of stunk up the joint a little bit.
Yeah, NHL is pretty on fire though.
NHL is always NHL playoffs. Like, doesn't get too much better than that, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah. All right. Question of the day. Had the NFL release a schedule on Thursday. So I want to know, what 3 regular season games are you looking forward to most?
Well, I'm going to kick it off, no pun intended, with week 1. Russell Wilson returning back to Seattle.
Yes, that is on my list too.
That's insane. The Broncos have 7 standalone games this season, which I don't know if there's a record broken there, if that's even the most in the league. Probably Rams and Chiefs are up there as well, but 7 themselves, 2 Monday night games, 2 Sunday night games, a Thursday night game, a London game, and 1 on Christmas. So which is crazy. The NFL is just hijacking. They're just going to hijack Christmas Day now. NBA,
Good.
Sorry, like SOL. It's going to be the NFL's day. But that's a pretty obvious, winner right there in terms of, and again, week 1, like amazing. So that'll be exciting just to see that replay or that rematch. It'll be not rematch, but the return.
Yeah.
I wonder how the fans are going to react to Russell. I mean, do you think he gets booed or do you think he gets cheered?
There might be a small cheer at the beginning, but I think majority will be booing. He's been wanting out for a couple of years now, has been pretty vocal behind the scenes on it. So I think the fans will let him have it a little bit, especially when you got Drew Lock starting in his place.
Yeah, that's no prize there.
No.
but it'll be great, and we'll get our first look to see, are the Broncos truly going to be division contenders? It usually takes a little bit of time, when a quarterback goes to a new team, but the Broncos are freaking loaded, at least, skill position wise, offensively and defensively. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if he can just like right off the bat, though, if they're awesome right away.
Yeah. My first one to kick off, I did have that one on my slate, so I'm glad I wrote down a couple other ones. That way I can give you 3 additional ones. But mine is also week 1, and it is the opener to the entire NFL season. Buffalo traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. So you got the defending Super Bowl champions taking on one of the betting favorites going into the season, Buffalo. I think
they are the favorite right now to win the title, win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, they're one of the most complete teams in the league right now. Had that epic loss to Kansas City last year where they didn't get the ball at all in the playoffs, just a back and forth slugfest. So I'm curious to see if Buffalo just kind of uses that as some motivation. You've got the defending champions right off the bat. You can make a statement to start off your season on the road in Los Angeles, and just looking forward to that game a lot. And I couldn't ask for probably 2 better teams to kick off the season either.
Could be a Super Bowl preview, Yep. I mean, what's going to stop the Rams right now? Certainly not Green Bay. Tampa, maybe. I mean, I would say they're the next best team in the NFC is Tampa, but
yeah,
I don't know. That division, you also wonder about that division. I mean, it's obviously gotten worse with Russell Wilson leaving, We don't know what the Kyler situation is how that's gonna turn out. That's still, he still doesn't have an extension, and it doesn't really seem like the Cards are dying to give him one, at least not at the money that he wants. And we don't know anything about Trey Lance. So that division's certainly weaker. The Buccaneers also in a crappy division with Carolina potentially, starting week 1. I guess for the Saints bringing Jameis back, I do love the pickup of Olave. They were 5-2 when Jameis went down yesterday, but they obviously lost Sean Payton.
Yeah, that's a big.
It's a big L. So, and then the Falcons are just a mess. Mariota, I don't think so. Scooter. So those two teams, and then Green Bay, you know how I feel about them this year. Yeah. So it's definitely a potential Super Bowl preview, which you got to dig.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to stick with one of those teams and go to the rematch of that epic AFC Championship game, Week 6 Bills Chiefs. Yes. That was definitely the most entertaining game all last season. I thought plenty more, on the same level of entertainment as even the Super Bowl. So just, it's the two best quarterbacks in the league, in my opinion, at least, talent wise. For sure at this point, in Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, two great coaches in McDermott, Andy Reid. Offensive schemes are sweet. It is going to be interesting with the Bills to see how they do with that new offensive coordinator with losing Brian Daboll. So They've got a new play caller, new offensive coordinator in the building. Kind of wonder how that's going to shake out, but hopefully, Josh Allen is just too damn good. I think the Bills will be just fine.
Yeah.
And then on the Chiefs side, it'll be also really interesting to see how they perform this year without Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Will be interesting to see what their offense looks like. Obviously, Sky Moore coming in. You got Juju. So yeah,
MVS.
We'll see what that translates to. Ooh, so scared.
It was Friday the 13th last week. We did have a Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
But we are live on a Monday.
Yes, we are. Speaking of the 13th, that's where I'm going to go with my next one, a week 13 matchup here. And kind of similar to your Denver-Seattle, got a quarterback making a homecoming, and that is potentially Deshaun Watson going back to Houston. So I want to see what the reception is like for him when he takes the field. Week 13, if he has a pretty decent suspension, again, right now we're not sure on what that's going to end up looking like with his off the field incident, if he's going to be suspended at all, how long that's going to be. But this could be one of his first games in a Cleveland uniform too. So it could be a pretty cool matchup. I think I'm a fan of watching the players return back to their original teams to see what the fans' reception is of them. And this one, I can't imagine to be too favorable.
I want to see now a 12-game suspension in his first game back. He's still in the same stadium.
Right.
I guess the NFL is going to meet with him and wrap up their investigation soon. That's what came out today, live on a Monday. So I guess we'll find out what the suspension is going to be, or if there will be one. I can't imagine there's not one. I would love to see him out for the full season, just to shove it to the Browns for doing
fully for basically contract.
that BS contract, giving him a $1 million this year.
Yeah.
Which is just garbage. Because if you're suspended, you don't get paid for the games you missed.
Yeah.
So that's obviously why they did it that way, why they structured the contract that way. But I would, and obviously on top of that, what he did or is accused of doing is really messed up. 22 civil suits. There were the 2 criminal suits as well. Cleared of the criminal stuff, the civil suits he's still working through. But yeah, I'd love to see them just shove it at the Browns for doing this. That'd be great.
Classic Browns fashion.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your last one, Joe? I think you took all mine, my other two.
I mean, I've got a couple that I think are going to be really fun watches, like week 18 Ravens at Bengals. I think that's probably going to be a battle for the division. Week 4 Bucks or Chiefs at Bucks. That's just Mahomes against Brady. Always a good time. Those have always been good games. But I'm gonna do Battle of LA week 17, Rams quote unquote at the Chargers.
Gotta love that.
Week 17. So just, I mean, it's Herbert, Stafford, McVay, Brandon Staley going against McVay for the first time. His previous mentor seems like he hasn't taken any of McVay's defensive or, I guess game management wizardry with him, given his very, very strange fourth down calls. But well, and what's crazy about Brandon Staley, he's a defensive coordinator. He came over as a DC from the Rams to the Chargers, and their defense was garbage last year. Yeah. So hopefully things change. And, and the only thing about this matchup that I wish was different is it's cool that it's at the end of the season because it will have obvious playoff implications to some degree, possibly for both teams. But by week 17, either Joey Bosa or Derwin James or both are going to be injured. So
probably. Yeah.
So that's the downside of having it so late in the season, is you're going to be dealing with that. But as long as everyone stays healthy, I mean, ultimately, as long as the two quarterbacks are healthy, it's going to be a good matchup. Great game.
Yep. I saw too, just kind of on a side note, speaking of a late season game, that starting in 2023, ESPN Monday Night Football is going to have the opportunity to have a flex schedule from weeks 14 to 18. So we won't see those
for Monday night.
Nice.
Yes. That's cool.
Be seeing those just crappy matchups that were decided early on in the season. They can flex out and put some of the better games on and the primetime spot on Monday. So
both ABC or ESPN and NBC are going to have.
I think so. Yeah.
It'll be an interesting little battle of
flip a coin or
NFL could probably say, highest bidder gets it. That's
right.
And the networks would be willing to pay. That's
big time.
Kind of how it works. They're as Middlecoff likes to say, a cash cow. So
we can be found at Dead Arm Sports, Twitter, Instagram. Check us out on Facebook at Dead Arm Sports. Be the first thing that pops up. As I mentioned early on in the show, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. We do post videos there the next day, and we also live stream each of our episodes. So you can check us out in the evenings. If you subscribe to our YouTube page, should get notification of us when we go live, so that we know when we're jumping on, typically on Mondays and Wednesdays. You want to follow Gel, he can be found at DasGel, that's at DasJel. I can be found at DasJPEG, that's at DasJPEC. Send us in any questions, comments, concerns you have about the show. We'll hit you back with an answer, or else answer them on the podcast. And again, if you are watching our YouTube live stream, you can type in any questions that you have. We monitor that chat during the recording, so we will go ahead and answer it. If you like something that we say or have a question, you want a little bit more insight on something that we just bring up, let us know, and we're more than happy to dive a little bit deeper if you'd like. But Gel, what are you sipping on today?
Well, I am working on a 2-day hangover still. Saturday night was it was my buddy's birthday get together. And so we did sushi and did a couple sake bombs at the restaurant, the 1, 2, and then slam the table and the shot drops off the chopsticks into the beer. So did 2 of those, that was the first time I'd ever done that, like with, slamming the table. So that was kind of fun. It was also really obnoxious to the rest of the, probably the rest of the patrons, because we were at like a halfway decent sushi restaurant. Like it wasn't like like a bar that, or like I guess it is a local chain, but still, my point is we were definitely the loudest people in there by a mile. But they're fun, man, and they went down pretty good. But and the sushi was great. So we started off there, and then went over to a dueling piano bar.
Ooh,
and we were there till close, and I had plenty to drink and looked at my credit card statement the next day and was very displeased. It was a very high number.
Attaboy.
It adds up pretty quick when you're buying, 3 or 4 shots at a time, multiple times throughout the night. Plus drink. I was drinking, of course, Dallas Blondes.
Attaboy.
So, yeah, but it added up quick. My buddy got this like fishbowl type of drink, and it was basically tasted like just like straight UV blue. It was so damn sweet. But it came with a little rubber ducky.
Oh, nice. That's pretty sweet.
So that's what he said was the main reason why I bought it. But little rubber ducky, little memento.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So I am working on the H2O still.
Well, I am have a little social, because that's what I have today as well. Had plenty to drink at the old Kenny Chesney concert down at American Family Field in Milwaukee on Saturday. So I had plenty of high noons and bush lights out in the tailgate lot. So you guys did end up tailgating. We did, yes. Attaboy. Yes, it was a good time. Nice 70 plus degree day, sunshine. That's perfect. Yes, absolutely perfect. How was the show? It was all right. I don't know. It was not fine. The greatest. Yeah, I was pretty intoxicated too. Yeah, so, as long as you had a good time. Good time was had. Yes, it was. Hell yeah. Speaking of good times, Jaire Alexander's having plenty of good times. Nice 4-year, $84 million contract extension, $30 million signing bonus to bring his cap hit for this year to just over $1 million. 1.1 mil. Well done. That signing bonus, not bad. Yeah, not at all, but makes him essentially the highest paid cornerback in the league now. He's averaging like 21 million a season. Be 21, yeah. So no, it's well-deserved contract. I mean, the Packers had to get him locked up. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the game. Obviously had some injuries last year, but has been relatively healthy for the most part since he came into the league, and just one of those shutdown corners that you don't want to have to face if you're the opposing team. So it's good for the Packers to lock him up. As a Bears fan, not happy about it, but figured it was coming. Yeah, no, I mean, you could make a pretty easy argument that he's the best corner in the league. So I think this is a no-brainer. I 22 mil for a corner, you kind of say, holy shit. Like that's, we'll see pass rushers occasionally get that kind of money, but we've never seen a corner get this kind of money. Yeah. But with how much now some of these top receivers are getting, I mean, I guess if you consider Christian Kirk a top receiver, but even the Christian Kirk types are getting paid this kind of money. He's getting, it's basically the same contract. I think both of them are 4 years, 84 million. Yeah. Who'd you rather have, Jaire Alexander? Or no, wait, Christian Kirk was 72 or was it 84? Either way. Either way, it was a ridiculous amount of money, and I'd rather have Jaire Alexander. And so the point is, with how much these receivers are making now, you have to have, if you're going to have top corners, or if you're going to have one of the top corners in the league, you have to get them paid and get them locked up so that they can help try to shut down these offensive stars. Because if receivers are getting paid like this, they're going to be the emphasis of any team's offense that they're on going forward, you'd assume. And what are you going to do? I mean, you can't just let Devontae Adams now run free on the Raiders. You got to have a shutdown guy on these guys. So I think it's worth the money for sure. He did miss a lot of last year with an injury, but it was, it's not like it was a torn ACL or a popped Achilles or something big time like that. So he'll come back this year, hopefully be fine, lead that defense, lead that secondary. And really it's the defense of the Packers that's going to have to, that's going to be the focus of the team, is going to be defense in the running game, because what are you going to do with Sammy Watkins, Randall Cobb?
the way that Rodgers doesn't really trust rookie receivers. I don't know how, especially early on in the season, how Christian Watson, how involved he'll be, at least right away. Defense, AJ Dillon, Aaron Jones, that's going to be the focus of this team. So you have to obviously make sure you're locking up your top corner, your top player on defense.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with that. And that'll be focus point. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, maybe this forces Rodgers to have to try and get Christian Watson the ball and work with him. And hopefully they build some rapport during training camp. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be a pretty one-dimensional offense for the most part. Obviously,
which is weird to say. Aaron Rodgers is like a backup plan. I'd assume that I guess I'm out here assuming that it's going to be a more run heavy offense. Whatever they've been doing hasn't been working, at least in the playoffs. So I guess try to get, you still got that two-headed monster, obviously, with AJ Dillon, Aaron Jones. Utilize it.
Yep. Moving down to New Orleans, Jarvis Landry finally finding a home this offseason, going back to his college roots, his days at LSU, and signed with the New Orleans Saints. 1 year, $3 million, and up to another additional $3 million in incentives, depending on his stats, how many games he plays. So pretty solid slot guy now there. You got Michael Thomas, Chris Olave in the mix, go along with Alvin Kamara. So, I mean, Jameis has all of the pieces. I mean, this is relatively similar to the offense and playmakers that he had in his Tampa days. You have a better run game now. Do you see the Saints possibly being a sneaky playoff team and competing for the division? Their offense is solid. Their defense has been,
it's just
pretty
old.
middle
The
of the
defense
road.
is just old.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be a couple of years ago, it was one of the top defenses, one of the top in the league, at least in terms of just shutting down offenses. Not that they were the flashiest defense. They just have, Marcus Lattimore, or is it Marcus? Which one of the Lattimores is the corner for the Saints. One of the
South Carolina running back.
South Carolina running back that tore both his ACLs. Yeah. Either way, that corner Lattimore.
I think it's Marcus. Marshawn was the other one.
Marshawn Lattimore was the running back. Yeah. Marcus Lattimore, just a really solid shutdown corner. Not, as flashy as like a Trayvon Diggs type, but overall a better corner, at least, in terms of not letting receptions from these, whoever he's defending. But it's just the defense has just gotten old. So hopefully they can keep it together there. It's going to be, and then ultimately, I mean, yeah, you did mention that Jameis does have those skill position players, but he also had that same level of talent in Tampa, and they went 7-9, and he threw 30 picks. Obviously,
that was before his eye surgery.
That's true. Holy shit, I can see. Is this what it's like? That's funny. I forgot about that. Yeah, I mean, I think he's changed his ways in terms of throwing picks. He learned under Brees. Like, Brees isn't the most spectacular player either in terms of just eye candy. He was just weirdly put. He was just, really efficient, and Jameis saw how well that worked. That's Brees had multiple 5,000-yard seasons without being the flashiest guy out there. So hopefully it sounds like Jameis learned that. You have to question the Sean Payton departure and wonder how much that's going to burn, or if it does end up burning the team. Do you think Jarvis what kind of a pickup do you see him being for them? I mean, do you think that he's going to come in and be able to step into, a number 2 role, and maybe Olave starts as the 3 to start the season, or, assuming, and who the hell knows what to make out of Michael Thomas and what his situation is going to be. But I mean, what kind of a role do you see Landry playing? Do you what do you think he's got left in the tank? Because he missed a lot of last year, and really what the games that he did play was very unspectacular.
Yeah, I think he still could have some left in the tank. I think it's probably going to be motivating for him going back home to Louisiana and
That's
playing
nice
for the Saints and everything. And I like the signing by the Saints. Relatively low money, some insurance in case Michael Thomas does miss time, can't stay healthy. You can get Chris Olave into the mix there. So, in best case scenario, you've got all 3 of them out on the field, and that's quite a wide receiver trio right there. So it gives Jameis an opportunity. Jarvis is a big PPR guy, so he can get some of those check down routes for Jameis. If Jameis is looking deep for Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, and just not there, gives him an option there, along with Alvin Kamara out of the backfield. I mean, that's all the pieces are there for Jameis to have success. It's just whether or not he can turn it around and have success there. So
along with being able to, shoring up that offensive line as well with that first round pick in God damn it. They lost Taron Armstead. I forget Trevor Penning.
Yep, Penning. Yep.
Getting it. So you've got really, assuming he's any good, you've got him and then Ramczyk on the other side. So you've got your tackles pretty much set. So yeah, I think they're absolutely in wild card contention. I don't know if I trust Jameis enough or Dennis Allen as a head coach enough to put them in the class with the Bucks to compete for the division. But I think wild card is absolutely a possibility, if not a likelihood, because remember, we're adding, I believe this year, we're adding an extra team as well. So is it a 17 playoff now?
Is it 8? They added
God, that's a
7.
fucking lot of teams.
Yeah.
So that's too many.
Yep. Agreed.
I don't like playoff expansion. It makes the regular season. It just continues watering down the regular season. That's for all sports. I don't like that they did it in baseball either. But either way, more playoff games. I guess that's a good. More football is always good.
Yep.
But no, I think it could be potentially expected that they make a wild card run, or at least a fight for a wild card spot. Division, that's going a little too far, I think.
Yeah, I agree too. But they should have second place in that piss poor division wrapped up. I mean, yes. I don't see Carolina doing anything. And you already said Marcus Mariota is not the answer in Atlanta. So we'll see what happens there. But former Saint Drew Brees had an article come out about him over the weekend, kind of questioning and speculating on what the future lied for him. And he came out today and tweeted out on his social media account, quote, "Despite speculation from media about my future this fall, I'm currently undecided. I may work for NBC. I may play football again. I may focus on business and philanthropy. I may train for the pickleball tour, senior golf tour, coach my kids, or all of the above. I'll let you know." So it sounds like Drew is just kind of taking everything in, just kind of reflecting on this last year. He's not coming back. That is not USFL. Happening. But yeah, no, I think it's more likely he ends up on the old pickleball tour than coming back to play in the NFL. So I don't see that happening. But no, what did you think of Drew Brees in the NBC studio? And also what do you think lies ahead for him?
I mean, I just thought he was kind of boring. He didn't really say much. He always, he would never say a single bad thing about the Saints. And that's kind of what he's there for. Like, give us the dirt, right. Like that's what makes for good TV. Like, give us some dirt on, he would never have a single bad thing to say about any player, anybody in any organization. And he said that on the air that like, he's not going to be bad mouthing anybody. And he would never pick, if the Saints were on Sunday Night Football, he would never pick against them. He said that. He said, I'm never going to pick against the Saints, so don't even get me to try. Like, that's kind of lame. That's kind of boring. You want to hear some stories about, back in my day when I was in the league about specific players, not always just stuff that you'd read on NFL or on Saints.com that are all going to be positive articles about the Saints. Like, I want to hear some shit that you had to go through. That's what I think is actually interesting, because anybody can go up there and say, just be the company man. But that's no fun. We want to hear dirt. We want to hear gossip. We want to hear this guy fucked up here. But he won't even do that. So I just thought he was kind of boring. Maybe he felt uncomfortable. I guess maybe the reason that he's potentially thinking about moving on, or maybe NBC's thinking about moving on from him is because maybe he just realized how uncomfortable being critical makes him feel. And that's probably what, I mean, I don't think I'm the only one that wants to see that. I think, or, that wants to see critical, or, players that are critical of other players or other management or whatever. That's what's interesting to me. So he must feel uncomfortable in that space, or NBC can tell he's uncomfortable in that space, and they're ready to move on. But again, nothing, I guess, like you said, nothing is official. Maybe he does join the pickleball, fight for the pickleball championships or whatever. But yeah, I'm totally okay if he leaves NBC. It's just there's no like the succession plan at Collinsworth was supposed to be Drew Brees, because we had Mike Tirico taking over for Al Michaels. It was eventually supposed to go to Drew Brees from Chris Collinsworth, but now there's nothing, waiting in the wings, so to say.
Do you think Drew Brees would be better suited up in the booth as opposed to just being on the set during halftime and pregame? Because you don't really see guys getting too critical up in the booth. They're more just kind of calling it as it is. Maybe he can at that time question some of the plays or say, I maybe would have done this different or something like that, where maybe that would be more in his comfort zone.
That would be, I think, a lot better of a fit, especially because he is, like an offensive wizard. He was in the NFL for like 20 years, or maybe not quite that long, but maybe it was 20, close to 20 at least. So he knows everything. I mean, that's kind of why Romo, especially when he first started at NBC or CBS, was awesome, because he was up there calling, picking out protections and saying, predicting what's going to happen on these plays, saying exactly what the defense is doing. That's why Romo was really good, especially right out of the gates, right after retirement, because he had all that knowledge. Brees probably is being wasted a little bit, being on that sideline crew rather than being in the booth. I think that would be a better fit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think too with that. So it'll be interesting to see what he does this fall. Wish him the best. And maybe he does just want to take some time right now. His kids are in prime sports age, and maybe that's what he wants to do, is just kind of take a step back, go to watch them play some of their games, and then can kind of evaluate the future from there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Jill, you want to talk some baseball?
Whack!
Well, Reds had quite the day over the weekend, lost 1-0 and threw a no-hitter to the Pirates. So Pirates ended up with the 1-0 victory.
Impressive.
I think this was one of 5 games in the history of the MLB that a team has won a game without getting any hits and getting no hit by the other team. So
first one since 08. But which I'm surprised it even happened that. I mean, I guess that's 14 years ago, which is crazy to think about, but how do you walk, fielder's choice? That's how the guy scored.
Is this more fitting though, too, that it happened during a Reds Pirates game?
Oh, it's perfect. It's too good that it would happen to the Reds and the Pirates would also be no hit with the win. So what do you do if do you celebrate? If you're the Reds, like we threw a no, like rush out to the mound after a loss,
right?
Mob the pitchers.
Both teams are celebrating, getting participation trophies.
That's pretty much the whole season for these two teams. Is they might as well that's all they're getting this year is a participation trophy.
Right.
I don't know. That's just too freaking great.
Yeah. No,
and it would happen to the Reds too. Like they're that bad.
Yeah,
they can't they can't even get the no hitter right.
Yeah, they're having a season to forget, and Cincinnati fans, I'm sure, are looking forward to football season already.
Skipping or going back to, or I guess not really going back, or going back to last. Was it last year when they still had the double headers were 7 innings? It was last year.
Yeah,
Madison Bumgarner threw a 7-inning no hitter. Do you think he should be credited? And that was because that's as long as he could go. It was a 7-inning game. Should he be credited with a no there?
I mean, yeah, I guess it isn't a 9-inning one, but he didn't, like you said, he didn't have a choice. That's what the baseball rules were at that time. So I think it should still technically count as a no-hitter. The game counted, right?
The game counted.
Count?
Yeah. No, I guess technically he wasn't awarded with a no-hitter, which is that's just crappy. That sucks. You're mad bum. I'm like, what the hell do you want me? I literally can't do anything else.
Right.
Unless it was still 0-0 and he went in and I guess technically go into extras. Yeah. But then you've also, that gets weird because you got the guy on second base then to start off the 10th inning.
Does that not count as a perfect game then? If you had a perfect game going and then you got the runner coming out on second base.
Oh, you allowed a base runner.
Yeah.
I thought Mad Bum got screwed on that one.
Yeah. No, I think so too.
And speaking of Mad Bum, I don't know if we've talked any baseball since this happened. It happened kind of a while ago, but did you see that video of that umpire like massaging Bumgarner's hand?
Yeah, looking Bumgarner just got pissed,
gazing into his eyes.
Yeah. Well, the umpire after the game came out and said that was his fuck up too, and that situation shouldn't have even happened. I think he did apologize for it, but yeah, it was
okay.
Really
well,
weird.
Go give him a suspension then. What good is an apology? Mad Bum got thrown out after like the first inning because of that.
Right.
Like, umpire should get suspended.
Yeah.
Even with an apology, like, cool.
Right.
I'm sorry for doing all the fucked up shit I've done too, but I still did them. Like,
yes.
All right.
Shohei's off to a hot start again. Sub-3 ERA, hit his 100th career home run the other day. So that's just keeps rolling. I don't know. This guy's pretty much unstoppable.
What's amazing is you knew the 100 home runs was coming after he hit 42 last year.
Yeah.
But the pitching has gotten a lot. I mean, that's where he's really improved is the pitching with like you said, sub-3 ERA for a guy that's also hitting 40 plus jacks a year. I mean, this is crazy. Last year, yeah, he started the All-Star game as the starting pitcher, but realistically, he didn't deserve to start. It was just, it's an all-star game. Like, let's make it as fun as possible. So they had him hit leadoff and be the, starting pitcher. But he's turned himself into now truly the ace of that Angels staff and deserving and an ace in baseball. It's crazy just to think that he's doing this. I mean, everybody makes a comparison to Babe Ruth back in the day, but Babe Ruth wasn't doing this mad production on, with pitching and hitting at the same time. He was mostly doing one or the other. And, as he got later into his career, transition into more of that slugger. But I mean, what Shohei's doing is literally we've never seen anything like this before. I hope that it turns into, the future of baseball is more two-way players, total athletes, because this is too damn fun to watch. And it'd be a shame to see him, if he was only focused on pitching or only focused on hitting. Yeah. But the fact that he can do both, and hopefully we see more of this, because there's obviously plenty of extremely talented athletes that probably grew up doing both through high school or up until middle of high school. And then they just specialized in one or the other. I hope to see more of that, two-way player and really seeing these athletes on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, Ohtani is paving the way for teams to take chances on some of these guys and let them pitch, let them hit. So many times you see guys that are phenomenal hitters. I mean, most of the time in high school, the best player on the field is your pitcher. The pitcher is usually one of your better hitters, better athlete. And then when the pitcher is not pitching, what are they usually at? Shortstop, outfield, or
center field. Yeah.
They're usually your better player
catcher.
And are phenomenal hitters. So they just kind of specialize once they get into college. Maybe they'll get a little bit of hitting here and there, but most of the time they're just focusing on pitching. And now with Shohei showing how dominant he is on both batting and pitching, I mean, sky's the limit for some of these other guys that can come in and hopefully continue to do this with the new rule that once you're done pitching, he can still be in that DH spot. That helps out a lot too, where you're not having to take him out of the game. So I like it a lot. And he's a blast to watch. And then you got Trout tearing it up too this year. He's healthy and in front runner for MVP right now. That Angels team's a hell of a team to watch.
As long as they can stay healthy, it's a team that's going to be there till the end, you know. Unfortunately for them, within their own division, the Astros are on an absolute tear right now. I believe on an 11-game win streak right now. Trash can list, I believe.
Allegedly.
See. Yeah, allegedly no trash cans involved.
Any Brewers updates for us, Joe?
I mean, not anything spectacular. Yelich is continuing to stay hot. He started off the season pretty cold, but he's remained hot. And Willy Adames is just crushing bombs, which it's crazy how well that trade has worked out. Adames in Tampa was never really anything special in terms of production. Like, yeah, you could kind of see the tools, but you know, he said after that trade how much he hated hitting at the Trop. Just like the backdrop was horrible. He just like the lighting was awful. I guess that's why people consider it a little league park. But coming to Miller Park, coming to Milwaukee, we've really seen especially the power really, really shine. And so he's up near double digits. I believe he just hit his 9th the other day. So up near double digits in home runs for a shortstop. That's really impressive. That's like what Trevor Story those are the numbers Trevor Story was putting up a couple of years ago in Colorado. So Adames is really on a power tear from a shortstop that's plays really good. I mean, solid defense. He's not a Anderson Simmons type where he's that level of a defender, but he can make any throw on the field. He's had a really good year, and I think he should, assuming he keeps this up, he should absolutely be an all-star this year.
Yeah, no, hot start for sure. Brewers are on a tear. Not a ton to compete with in that division outside of the Cardinals, but
yeah. Nolan Arenado's holding that team together.
Yeah. And Albert Pujols with the pitching performance
appearance
last night. Yeah. Nice 3 outs, had to 24 ERA or something like that.
I think it was 54. He let up 3.
54. Okay, yeah, that's right. Yep.
I think he let up like 6 runs or something.
Still closed it out though, but
Longoria requested to keep his ball because he got a hit off of him.
I saw that. That was cool. Always love seeing the games that are blowouts like that. And the position players coming in and throwing. I'll never forget Rizzo before he got traded, striking out Freddie Freeman.
Yeah,
that was great.
That was phenomenal. Excellent.
Last topic of the day, Joe, just kind of wanted to get your take. I know it's probably a sore subject as far as NBA goes, but in the longest time since I can remember, starting on Saturday night, we had, 5 hockey games that went to a game 7 and 2 basketball games.
Yep.
So we had 7 game 7s between NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs over the weekend, and they didn't really disappoint outside of Bucks just kind of down the stretch, just too much power from Boston. And man, the Suns just got absolutely annihilated by the Mavs. So
it was, I couldn't believe when I kind of had it on in the background. I was just like chilling on the patio and me and my dog just chilling. And I walked back inside and I saw it was 72-34 in the third. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? What's happening here?
Yeah.
I think Luka at halftime, Luka had as many points himself as the Suns at halftime. Both had 24. So like, I just couldn't believe it. I thought the Mavs, they had played really good in game 6. I thought, hey, they've got a chance here to beat the Suns. And because the Suns hadn't been playing that well, especially Chris Paul, who's now definitely looks like he's a 37-year-old NBA player.
Yeah, like, he's dropped off pretty quick.
He's just dropped off pretty just fast. But I was thinking Mavs have a chance to win this as long as Luka keeps doing what he's doing and other guys can hit shots. But I wasn't obviously expecting this, a 40-point blowout. So, yeah, the NBA games kind of were disappointing. I mean, the Bucks game was pretty entertaining up until about halfway through the fourth, and you could kind of see the writing on the wall that it ain't happening, which extremely disappointing. But hey, got our title last year. Just kind of sucks that the Bucks can no longer say defending. I guess they can say defending champs until the finals are over, but
technically, yeah,
but can't repeat, which most teams can't. It's hard to repeat in any championship or in any sport.
Well, and Chris Middleton out that series did not help. That killed
it a lot, because how many damn minutes did Grayson Allen get? Screw his ass. God.
It's your favorite player, I thought.
Worst. Fucking Grayson.
Both hockey games yesterday going into overtime. Rangers ended up knocking off Pittsburgh Penguins, and Calgary Flames ended up beating the Dallas Stars in overtime to close out the nightcap yesterday. But just a phenomenal weekend if you enjoy NHL, NBA playoffs. So.
Especially, I mean, hockey playoffs always just fun. Always so intense.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't watch much NHL regular season, but I'll turn it on in the playoffs. Kind of the same thing with basketball for me. I don't watch that much regular season ball or hockey, but playoffs have been really good in both leagues this year.
Yeah, that's how I am too. If it's during the regular season, if there's like a good game on, I'll turn it on. But once the hockey playoffs start, I'm flipping through channels and see one on, it's instant tune in and on the edge of your seat, just so intense, and it's awesome.
Well, and it's nice having some of these games on like TNT, TBS. I think ESPN's getting back in the mix rather than it just being on NBC and NBC Sports. Like, just feel like it's you just see them on more often because it's within that spot on your TV guide, your TV channel guide, where it's like they're all bunched together with all the sports and stuff. So I've seen it more kind of because of that too.
Yeah. All right, Joe, any final comments before we close her out today?
Just excited to talk PGA Championship on the next episode and get some golf action going on. So for the next recording.
Yeah, that's going to be like the old preview there, a little spoiler alert. Our next episode is all golf. So we're going to be talking PGA Championship, some of the storylines going into Southern Hills Country Club in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've got our PGA Championship draft similar to our Masters draft. So we'll get into that, refresh you on the rules tomorrow. But again, we can be found at Dead Arm Sports, Twitter, Instagram. Check us out on Facebook at Dead Arm Sports. Make sure you check out our YouTube page. You like watching podcasts or watching talk, you can check us out on their video. Gels Fires roaring in the background. Make sure you subscribe so that way you know when we do our live streams. So that way you can tune in, ask us any questions, especially during the football season coming up. You have any questions on your draft? If you're in a slow draft right now for Dynasty or any of those, you can jump on, ask us any questions, and we'll answer them on the live stream. If you want to follow Gel, he can be found at DasGel. That's at DASJEL. I can be found at DasJPEG. It's at DASJPEC. Send us in any questions. We'll hit you back or answer them on the next podcast. Subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on your favorite listening platform. Send us a screenshot of that review. Get you some sticker swag sent out in the mail. What are some of those platforms they can listen to us on, Gel?
Hit us up on our presenting sponsor, Anchor. Totally free service, both on the web and via the app. If you're looking for the app, just type Anchor into your Google Play Store or Apple App Store. If you're looking online, go anchor.fm. It's got all the features that we use, all the recording, all the publishing, everything is all free there with Anchor. They allow us to publish this out to you guys on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google Pods. Again, great service, and make sure on whatever your chosen listening platform is, whether that's any of those podcasting platforms or on YouTube, subscribe, rate, review, take a screenshot of that written review and send it over to us in the comments. Send it over to us on our social in the DMs, and we'll get you some Dead Arm sticker swag.
Absolutely. All right. Again, we'll be back a little bit later on in the week with our PGA Championship preview. Will be a fun one, and looking forward to the second major of the golf season. see who Gel picks. You're going to have first pick. So, sir, you are officially on the clock until our next recording. Be sure you're thinking on who you want to take. And we'll be back with you later in the week. Gel, close us out.
Live on a YouTube.